May the Force be with you, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. For today's episode, we are reviewing episode 5 of season 3 of The Mandalorian called The Pirate. Akram, what were your thoughts on this episode?
What a great episode. It felt as if it was filler at first, but I must say it's a lot more than that, and I think it'll leeway into the bigger threat coming soon. We have 3 episodes. I think now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of what this season is all about rather than the themes. Now we're going to tackle the bigger threat, as I said before. It was a really fun episode. It was action-packed. I really enjoyed it a lot. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I do agree there's kind of like this imminent threat building up. It seems like now it kind of seems like there's a plot like showing in this episode. Like the first or the last 4 episodes kind of seemed like their own thing, but now it's kind of like building something together with that. And I think the action in this episode was great. Not too much of Mando in this episode. It was very, I want to say like there was a lot of characters that shone more in this episode, right. And we get to see kind of like the New Republic is kind of we saw it in the other episode, but it was kind of like the New Republic is kind of like failing at its job, in a way. And it seems like the galaxy like everybody has to like fend for themselves, really. But it was a great showcase of the Mandalorians in this episode, like the covert. I think they got some really like great screen time.
Yeah, I think this episode was a great showcase of why it isn't always the best to rely on government. Sometimes it's kind of good to be self-dependent. I know a lot of Minutemen will say that, but it kind of felt like a very like each citizen or the way how Kreef Garga conducts his business is kind of like they're all Minutemen in a sense. So that's like a little bit of intertextuality for you. So it was really cool to see the Mandos in action. I really enjoyed that, especially as an ensemble. And it looks like they're changing now. They're starting to think more about the bigger picture. I mean, I think that's what it's all about. I think they were just misrepresented. Probably because we didn't get much screen time in the past, like with certain characters and their culture. It was always like from point A to point B. But now things seem like they're settling a lot. Yeah,
it seems like they're redefining their lore in a way. It seems like they're going from this warrior race that was kind of like a warmongering tribe.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they're actually like heroes. Like you could like call them up and they'll like save the day at the end of the day. And I think that's wonderful. It's like, how do you redefine this like history of, war and just awful like reputation?
Right.
And how do you kind of rebuild that? And I think it's great that they're coming into like a positive light. And I think that started with Din Djarin actually. And now it seems like Bo-Katan will kind of pave that way for them in the future.
They recognize now her importance, and that's really cool. Again, I love her character. We talked in the past too about the pirates making a return. They kind of felt like a throwaway. It was just like a threat, but I think the battle itself meant more rather than the opponent. So what did you get? What are your thoughts on just the action set pieces? Because it was like full-blown action. It was really cool.
It was great. I mean, it really showcased the covert's like skill.
Yeah.
And because this is what they've been training for their whole life. So it was great to see them on screen. Even the armor gets some like cool like screen time.
Yep.
I will say, without getting into spoilers, Paz Vizsla stepped up in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
He really seems like he's now an integral part of this show. And it's great to see him just have this great like camaraderie with Mando.
Yeah.
It was just awesome. I think the Mandalorians just work so well together, and it really feels like almost like the Marines, like they're like a unit, and they just work so well off each other. And it makes me wonder sometimes like how like the Empire like killed them off like in the early days, because they seemed like so effective at their job. But yeah, there's a bigger threat coming down the road. We'll talk more about spoilers in our spoiler review, but yeah, overall, what did you think of this episode, and what do you think we'll see perhaps for the future?
Yeah, fun episode, action-packed, and I think, again, it leads into the bigger threat. I think that we're going to see a lot more of this ensemble now, and I think it introduces a lot of things in a sense of community and building a new type of community. And I guess, in a way, it's like a more progressive approach to the culture. It seems like it's going to go that way. So really great episode. If I had to rate this, I think I would give it a 9, probably a 9 or a 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. What would you?
Yeah, I'd probably give it 9 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
I think the action was awesome. The CGI was great. And the characters were very believable. We get some new additions in this episode too. Some great guest appearances. They know how to craft really great. Just even minor episodes in this show just feels like they're so important, and they kind of like build to something greater. And I can't wait to see like what the rest of this season brings. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this review of episode 5 of The Mandalorian season 3. Check out our other Mandalorian reviews as well. Check out our other playlists. Akram, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, guys, we are so busy. We're going to have a Dungeons and Dragons review coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. We have so much content, spooky content too, surprisingly, in April. So we got a couple movies for that. And we also want to get a lot of guests on for April too. So this next month is going to be wild. Thank you guys so much as always. And Dylan, please say your thing.
Thanks for having lunch with us, guys. This is the way.
This is the way. See you guys.